Welcome, fellow travelers. I'm going to open this up a little different today. This is Rusty, DJ Rusty. With me, as always, is my co-host, DJ Nettie P. We're here to celebrate the life. Really, all right, let's just get into it. James served the Candy Kingdom on a dangerous mission through the Desert of Wonders, an exploration for the future of the kingdom and PB's empire. But he was more than just a hero of our kingdom. He was a good son and a good friend, probably. James wasn't always with it, but what he was himself. He remained true to who he was until the bitter end, bitter, green, gooey end. I'd like to dedicate this episode to James's clone, James 2.0. Welcome, James 2.0, to the Candy Kingdom. Welcome, Ned, to the Never Ending Adventure podcast. Welcome, travelers, to Season 5, Episode 42, James.
Oh, hey, Rush. It's good to see you, man.
The words go with your trucker hat on.
I know.
That
hey,
voice.
man. I just want you to be happy and comfortable.
I'm happy. I'm comfortable. I got my lucky coin. I'm good to go. I got crystal certainty that this is going to be a heckin' good podcast. How you feeling?
Heckin' good.
Yeah, that's not a quote from the episode, but some other things were.
Yeah, we had some good Finnisms, some Jakeisms, and some good word mashups in this one for sure. I very much enjoyed it. I'd say if it wasn't my tops of the episode, I had one line that was the tops of the episode, which was Finn saying, "Noshing on this teen boy bod."
Ooh, well, I didn't catch that. When did he say that?
It was he was gonna say, like, right when Finn was gonna sacrifice himself, and he's like, "When I'm out there and all those zombies are noshing on this teen boy bod," and I was like, "That's it. That's just how Finn delivers the line." And it was like, I think we had like an "Oh my Grark" in there a few times.
Yeah,
I don't know. Tops of this episode just goes to the Adventure Time ad-libbing phrases like that, right. Which I have a feeling like they had to have been in the studio and being like, "Hey, Jeremy," like speaking to the mic and just like come up with like a schmow, like what the schmizzens, like
crystal
what,
certainty. I mean, that came from that exact same moment when he does sacrifice himself. Mm-hmm. My doggy is wanting to chime in. Yeah. I really enjoyed this episode, man. I didn't have a tops, to be honest with you. Like, maybe the tops was the fact that we were exploring a crater and a whole brand new part of the kingdom that I had never seen before. That was probably what was the most fun about this episode. It could have been the Pikmin-like ship that they chose to crawl across the desert in. That was also pretty cool.
I don't give that one my tops. I've got some reasonings why, and we can jump right into it. I feel like this episode needs no introduction or no walkthrough, but
is this a popular one with the fandom, do you think?
I don't know. This is kind of a lead up. So like this ends with the zombies like coming out of the pit, the goo monsters. Right. And this leads up to an important episode. There is continuation of James, and the goo monsters coming out of the pit obviously is going to play into a role in future. So
James
episodes.
1.0 is coming back. Are they going to
James
fight?
1.0, James 2.0 comes back. I'm not going to spoil it. No more spoilers on next James follow-ups. This for me, it's not one of my favorites because it moves a little bit slower. Like even the dialogue, the scene itself is happening. The cool part about this episode, and what I do appreciate when this happens in like movies and TV shows, is when the timer first appears in the ship, it has 6 minutes, 45 seconds when like the time of doom or whatever. And that's exactly 6 minutes, 45 seconds to the end of the episode. So I do like when shows do that. Like I hate the, like, we've got 45 seconds underwater. And dude, I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. The camera's been rolling for 4.5 minutes. It's like, and the 45-second timer is still ticking down, you know?
No, I really appreciate that as well. I didn't realize that was what it was going to time up with the actual episode itself, but it was fun to have like a bit of mystery in this episode and be uncertain of what was going on, who was sabotaging everything. I as you know, I love a good murder mystery. Me and Allie watched an absolute horrible murder mystery this past weekend. It was, I believe, an Italian film. And it was on Netflix, and we're just like, it was like 7 women and a murder or something like that.
It's like a spaghetti Western type thing.
It was just It was, I mean, it was all dubbed. So, like, maybe the acting in Italian was actually really good, but the dubbing was so awful. It was horrible. But this episode kind of scratches a similar itch. Like, I like that. Like, oh, we're out in outer space and something's going wrong with the ship is somebody trying to make
Yeah,
this go bad.
like
That's
an
still
a
fine.
like a Ridley Scott alien type
Right.
movie where all the things keep going wrong and who broke the glass and why is the door left open, and you have to kind of do a little bit of a whodunit. It's just a little too short for me for like a whodunit.
Yeah.
And this is another kind of good topic to sit on is like, who is James? Why have we never seen James? Why is he piloting the ship?
We know who James is. James is the replacement for a cinnamon bun, is he not?
Maybe. I mean, that's like, I wanted a little bit more of a lead in to James, but I guess it could be that whole, like, he's kind of goofy and kind of silly cinnamon bun replacement. But
yeah, like cinnamon bun is off with the flame princess. Princess Bubblegum needs a new sidekick / assistant / not Peppermint Butler for some reason. I guess Peppermint Butler's like doing things in the Candy Kingdom itself, but
I do want Pep Butt on like missions like this, where I think that he'd be the one, and he would, like, I don't know, give some sort of like dark aura enchanted. He would have saved them. He would have been the solution in this situation.
Sure.
But James doesn't even know how to fix the radio in the ship, except for was it PB that sabotaged it?
I mean, yeah, let's just go ahead and do my theoretically speaking for this episode. Just super early as speaking. That takes a fat vape.
Yeah. Gotta keep myself on. I gotta keep myself sharp.
Got you off guard. So my theoretically speaking for this episode is kind of that question. Did Princess Bubblegum also destroy the radio? Like we know in this episode, she's sabotaging everything. She'd tell Sven about this later on. All of his plans weren't going to work. So she's like, I had to mess them all up so we didn't die. You know, like I was saving us, but I was, for some reason, exploring every idea that he had, because eventually Finn does have the idea that saves him, which is the sacrifice, right? So this was, I will point out, this was Finn's idea. The fixing the radio was something that he was like, hey, why don't we try that? And then initially, Princess Bubblegum was like very supportive of James, as if she knew that he knew how to actually fix the radio, even though we see him messing around with this coin-operated coin screwdriver, you know, as if he was kind of dumb or something like that, and was kind of playing into like, I'm a goofy guy, but yeah, sure, I'll fix this thing. And they go in a different room. He comes in screaming, making these noises as if like a radio would make, right? And then they go back and it's way worse, way more messed up than it was previously. I want to point out that James also has some co-pilot knowledge. We see him when they're trying to make a diversion on the ship's dashboard, pressing a whole bunch of buttons. Really, he was pressing 2 buttons. And let's be honest, in the diversion, one of the diversions was just the lights flashing on and off. And I'm kind of wondering if he was messing with the headlights. But regardless, when they're in the other room, Princess Bubblegum does go back and checks the radio first alone, and no one else goes. And so that is like a big window for her to go destroy the radio. And I think it's possible that I don't know.
That's where it's a good lead in. I mean, we know PB was sabotaging the whole thing. Yeah. Because she wanted Finn. She did not want the idea of sacrifice to be her own idea. Like I think
it's possible that she knew that no one, if they radioed, would be able to come and save them. That's what I was
right. It wasn't enough time. They're way too far out. And I did way too much research trying to figure out exactly where the Desert of Wonder was. Oh. And I don't think there's an exact answer besides like it's in the wasteland. There's like 2 areas south of the grasslands. One's like to the west, and it's like a little peninsula. And then one's to the east, which is like the Badlands, which is where the Breakfast Kingdom is. And so this might just be like unexplored areas of the Badlands, I'm guessing. That's like a little bit further away.
I don't know. I've got a qualm, Ned.
Wait, hold on. Let me finish my thought.
I thought you were done. My bad.
No, because when I was talking about that with the there's too much here in this episode. I feel like that they didn't have enough time. I feel like James is on the ship, right? We know he seems goofy. He seems like we don't know him as a character very much. Him and Finn and Jake aren't close. They're like, this guy's kind of wonky. They've never met him before. did she make James, and maybe I'll theoretically speaking myself,
Theoretically speaking,
did she make James as a lamb for the slaughter? That
right?
she knew that they were going out into this wasteland, that there was a ton of unknowns. Princess Bubblegum is very aware that there are goo monsters because she's like, these are monsters from a very distant past. She knows that they exist in some capacity. So did she bring James along as this like last resort if we end up in a monster situation, dragon situation? Like, do I have somebody who I can, just like take a snip of his head and clone him just in case I have to sacrifice him? I'm very much thinking he's the Harry Potter here. He's the lamb for the slaughter, you know?
No, I 100% agree. I was thinking that same thing and thought we haven't met this person. He hasn't mattered in the past. Maybe he's a recent creation, maybe not. Like she clearly has no real, I don't think she would just sacrifice a cinnamon bun or would just sacrifice a peppermint butler. This feels like someone who's maybe new to the Candy Kingdom. Again, it's like, oh gosh, a weird fine line we're going. He's still a conscious being. Like you sure can clone him physically, but then you can't clone his consciousness. You're not going to bring that into the new version of James. So I have some issues with this, obviously, as we all do. But I totally agree. I think he, without a doubt, was brought on this mission for the singular purpose of being a sacrifice at the end of the day. And that's the only reason Princess Bubblegum brought him along. I mean, maybe he's a good co-pilot. He shows that he has some sort of sense of what's going on the way over to the pit. They didn't mess up. They didn't fall down. They tiptoed across.
It was a very graceful landing. Yeah.
Right. So he has a lot going for him up until that point and his goofiness. And then we're led to, just kind of judge him based off of how goofy of a character he is. But I do think he's a sacrifice entirely. Like Princess Bubblegum knew about this. She knew the goo monsters were out there. She had to have had a reason or prior research, something that was drawing her out into the desert.
Yeah. She's going after something specifically. This pit had high levels of radiation. What does James say here? Registering Mondo Mega Rads down there. Like, they knew that there was radiation. So I think she came ready with radiation suits. And so I think she was like, pretty much I need to go get what I need. And I'm going to bring James just in case. And I'm a little disappointed in PB as well. And I know we got some feedback that like, oh, you guys crap on PB. You got to stop all this. But like, dude, she's always way more prepared than this mission like gives off. This like kind of like pod thing. I'm surprised at the maybe except for the fact that it has blast doors on the windows, that there's not like guns, there's not like electromagnetic pulses that would pulse out of the thing, that it has like no defense mechanism. And it seems very odd for PB to go into a situation like this and not have guns on the ships
or something.
Yeah, it's just uncharacteristic of her, in my opinion.
I 100% agree. It's an interesting adventure that we're off on to like continue the colonialism of the Candy Kingdom. Like we have that note, and then also we recently had the Spoon of Prosperity. Like something, what is that? CCO or something? Like there's something going on, right? Something's happening around here. Like
you feel the bad moon rising.
I feel. I feel the Proud Mary going across the river. No, I don't know. I can't think of a CCR song off the top of my head. Yeah, man, something's going on. And Princess Bubblegum she's planning something, or like, I guess it's just her ever ending desire to grow. I mean, clearly we saw in the Vault episode that they built the Candy Kingdom on a river of radioactive green goo. And here's another pit of that.
Oh, I didn't tie those two together, that the first Candy Kingdom, they were using that radioactive goo.
I think
and
so.
That is, I guess that makes sense why
we
if they
had
were
a bunch
going
of
down
theories.
this. Yeah, we had theories around, and then that will come to play where there's a certain character in the Candy Kingdom. I'm not going to spoil anything. Like that's crucial to its like survival. But you are right when we saw the Shoko episode that there was a river of radiation that they were building over the Candy Kingdom. And we had tons of theories on that. So that is absolutely like if she's looking to colonize why she'd be going towards heavy radiation areas.
Right. I mean, even in the very first episode of Adventure Time, you have the goo or the weird chemical thing that she puts together that brings candy people back to life from the dead. So we don't know. We haven't seen her create a being, a candy person, but I have to assume she has some sort of an added element, a radioactive element, whatever it is, that allows her to take a non-alive object and turn it into, or candy and turn it into. And maybe it's the way that candy interacts with the radioactive goo. I don't know what it is necessarily. I mean,
well, there's something there too, because obviously these goo monsters have been around for 996 years at least, and that there's some life-giving aspect to it,
right?
Just for them having survived that long.
Yeah, I don't know. I also, what I was going to say earlier is my qualm that I got many in this episode.
Yeah, this is an episode full of qualms, I feel like. It's just qualmy.
Well, what are they doing naming the Desert of Wonders the Desert of Wonders? And it's like full of like things that can kill you and like treacherous. It's a desert. Like, it makes you want to go out there and check it out, does it not? Like, give it a name that doesn't like breed people to go out and explore, for crying out loud. The Desert of Wonders. Get out of here. That's just another. I've got stand-up bits. Maybe is what
I can't even remember where
What's the deal with the Desert of Wonders?
I don't even remember where Billy's hideout was, but it was kind of in an outskirty type land ish. Right. So, and then Billy had this cave full of crazy jewels and treasure and stuff like that. So the Desert of Wonders could be like, oh, there's tons of, loot out there. That's potential. And you could see it was a lot of cities that had fallen apart. So you could imagine that looters through post-apocalyptic times would be like, okay, well, you can loot all these cities and there's tons of wonders and, dungeon crawls to go on. So that's potentially it. But on the surface level, it looks pretty crappy.
Yeah. I mean, we don't see really anything else that's alive out there. So there's no telling. Maybe there are some ne'er-do-wells or something hanging out and hiding, stealing things, robbing people.
There's definitely some butterflies with guns out there. I can tell you that.
Butterflies with guns. Yeah, this isn't the same desert where Finn and Jake were taking the tart through, right? So
I don't think. Well, and who knows? It gives off the similar vibes, but I think anything that's like deserty in Adventure Time is in that south part of the land of Ooze. So it's just widespread at that point.
Right. Jake was bummed. He was like, yeah, sure. This is what I want to be doing while we're out in the Desert of Wonders, which again, to the name, come on, name it something else and Jake won't want to go hang out and explore it.
Yeah. That's why I was like, give Finn and Jake the freedom to go explore it on their own, to be honest.
Yeah. I did, Ned, I had an interesting thought kind of going back to season 5, episode 31. I mean, really not far back at all. Too Old, which is we're in the Lemon Kingdom and Princess Bubblegum is basically ruining, again, sabotaging all of Finn's plans, planning on his plans failing in order for them to succeed. This just feels like another instance where Princess Bubblegum isn't fully trusting the capabilities of her hero, or at least not on an intellectual level. Like maybe she is on a physical level, and she knows that like he'll come up with some random idea that will work maybe to some degree, or I can take his idea and then spin off and come up with a real idea that will save us. But I don't know. It just it seemed parallel to that episode for some reason to me.
No, it absolutely. And even in like some of the factoids I had too, it calls back to that moment where it's the same exact thing from Too Old, where PB is planning on his plans to fail. And in the meantime, has her own plan constructed from the very beginning. So it seems, I don't know if she's patronizing Finn, if this one that she's just burning time. And then again, kind of like lets it be Finn's idea and then like kind of admits to him at the end, hey, I knew this was going to be this way all along. I just couldn't sacrifice you, which it's like, it's very sweet and I get it. And it just makes me be like, back to the cloning thing. Like, yeah, you're cloning him, but like James died. Like there is still a zombie James out there in the desert that you like, thank goodness he was, I don't know, like, I'm not going to say stupid enough, but silly enough to be like, yeah, of course I'll be this hero for the Candy Kingdom with like no questions asked pretty much. But I don't know, the cloning thing again. And actually I had a really good secondary, again, this is going to be riddled with some theoretically speaking here. when she clones James, and we got James 2, the personality is all still there. He's still making the noises. He's still got the lisp. All he does is just doesn't have like the memory of what happened, right? So there is a theory I have just about the candy people themselves that encoded into their DNA is their personality. That if she cloned him and it was just this new fresh candy person, it wouldn't have the James personality. So she's somehow encoding some bit or portion or piece of personality into their DNA, and it's backed up by lemon grab as well. That lemon grab was made to kind of be this antithesis of a sour candy, and that was that moment with lemon grab. Like, you made me like this. You're my glob. And it's kind of like, okay, she's absolutely in this scientific debate between, nature versus nurture, and that absolutely the candy people are in this nature. Like their being who they are is like kind of encoded into their DNA.
I like that. Do we have other examples? Another one I could think of maybe is the banana guards, where the banana guards all seem to have the same, and that's maybe a tone of voice, but even then they all kind of are a little airheaded and kind of out there.
Yeah, well, there's another episode. This is not too much of a spoiler, but there's a character called Rattleballs, and Rattleballs is a little bit more like a robot than a candy person per se, but there was programming into the Rattleballs that was like inherent into their psyche. And as much as I can spoil about that. Sure. So she's done robots. Like, we know that. I'm pretty sure the Gumball Guardians, I don't think that they're candy. I think that they're robots as well.
Well, what other candies, though? Or do we have big groups of the same type of candy other than the banana guards that you can think of? I mean, I'm drawing a blank here, to be honest with you.
Like big groups, I'd assume like that we've like other groupings, I would say, is like the lollipop children. That's like just one grouping of candy folks. The rest, I guess, are pretty widespread in terms of their diversity. Random generic candies and things like that. But again, it gives it's
a great thought, though.
The theory of Banana Man, what we had before, that he's the brain of the banana, and she sliced off the she sliced out the brain of the banana guards and flipped them upside down. And that's why they're kind of stupid. Yep. And Banana Man's a genius and this huge like engineering, rocketeer, like everything. So it keeps going into this like Candy Kingdom lore that it's not a bad thing. Now I'm not dissing on PB. It's just kind of okay, we're getting some consistencies with her candy people that, and this leads back to, James is still James, even though it's just a clone of him.
Yeah, he seems very similar. And I will say, we've been talking about him a whole lot. James is certainly my lovely of this episode.
Give me some sugar, baby.
He got it. We were in an interesting situation. I don't know why Princess Bubblegum decided to go about this. Like, there's a sabotage. We should not trust or a saboteur. We should not trust each other. The radio all of a sudden is in worse condition, isn't working. The flare goes off when we're trying to look for an escape route up the side of the crater. And flare goes off and attracts the goo monsters and kind of closes that escape route as a possibility. And the flare is missing. So those are like the three different things. I did that one out of order. I apologize. But regardless, I don't know why she went about things in that path. But after this is happening, despite the distrust that Finn and Jake both have of James still is willing to give his one precious item that he owns, the lucky coin that he carries with him everywhere, to Jake when Jake to calm him down, because Jake is freaking out about dying. And he goes, oh man, I really thought, again, selfish thought, I would outlive at least one of my 5 children. Cool, Jake. Great dad thing to say right there. But yeah, I mean, James is a sweetheart, man. He's willing to give his coin to Jake, despite Jake distrusting him and yelling at him half of this episode.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't know. My lovely, I was debating on James because I'm kind of like in the Finn and Jake world a little bit, where I'm like, he's kind of off and I don't really know why he's there, and he's kind of weirding me out a little bit. I had my lovely down as James too, because he's just like so happy to be there at the end. He's like, I don't even know why I'm getting this medal. Like,
right.
And thanks for he's like, thanks for the coin.
Oh,
I
heck
love
yeah,
these
and a coin.
things, So
That's
I get
good.
my lovely kind of went to James too at the end.
No, I mean, to be fair, like it's not really an episode that has a
Yeah, there's like
standout
four.
lovely.
There is 4 characters in this episode. There's not really. I mean, besides candy people walking on the ground, there is only 4 like characters referenced. So not many lovelies to choose from. But speaking of our 4 characters, I think this is a very staple. We haven't had a good one in a while, but a really staple Jake mistake.
Making bacon pancakes.
Because all the options we have laid out, and PB is like, I ran through every option in my head in 4 seconds. Dude, Jake we see him stretch into a hand in this episode and rip this huge like power converter out of the ship and throw it at the thing. I'm like, oh yeah, Jake's like super powerful. Why can we not have Jake mega hand, pick all them up, stretch into a hook and like stretch at least up the side of one of these like hills to get away from the goo monsters, at least to buy him some time. At least that's what's kind of confusing to me, is that I know Jake can't do everything, but the lack of that being part of a plan is very confusing to me.
I have to assume that maybe that was part of the idea to use Jake's powers to get out of the hole. When they were looking for the path out of the hole, right when the flare went off, because the distraction's entire purpose was simply for them to go
to just
look
get
at
out
the other side of the ship to see if there is an opening for them to escape to, and there just wasn't one. Also, in my mind, I was like, oh yeah, he could just fight these things. I guess we don't know to what degree they are infectious or whatever it is that the goo monsters can do to you. So if they just like bit Jake, would he potentially turn into a goo monster?
Yeah, I think
know.
so. I think so. And I mean, I think they are highly like high radiation. So I know maybe PB is like also not sure about even getting close to them, how much you get affected. So I get that too. But I was like, yeah, literally just that distraction plan. And I mean, Jake could turn into a basket with long legs and just like in about 4 steps, like step out of that cabin. Like, we've seen him do like the big leg stuff before. And I guess that was still just risky. Like if Jake gets spit on the leg, but I mean, shoot, it's a lot. I think that she'd have some version of like a cure or a solution to that. So, but she went with sacrifice before. Hey, let's risk somebody getting bit.
Right. And
then it's still a sacrifice at that point, She's
known about these things for years, for hundreds and hundreds of years. She could have studied them, tried to find some sort of an antidote, as you're saying, like a way that we, maybe when she sees James, she'd go, oh, heck, that's original James. Like, you're back. Let's give you the antidote that I've been working on for the past 900 whatever years that I've been alive and that I've known that there were goo monsters out there. So I don't know. This is actually a great point of my next big issue with this episode is that Princess Bubblegum carries them out of the pit, all the way out of the pit, all the way up the pit. Like James giving a sacrifice, but there is no freaking, this is a massive hole in the ground.
Yeah.
And Princess Bubblegum isn't that strong.
When they did that little clip of the ship looking like an ant going down, they did it to like scale up how big this hole was. And then that she just ends up climbing out on the side with Finn and Jake over her shoulders. A bit silly in my opinion.
It kind of reminded me, I don't know why, it reminded me of the Sleeping Bear Doom. If you know what that is, or if you've seen it on TikTok or whatever, it's this like sand dune that goes down to some body of water, a lake or maybe the ocean. I'm not sure.
I think I've seen that one.
And you got to pay like $2,000 to get rescued out of it if you go down there and you can't get back out. That's kind of where I was like, this is that situation, but you're carrying 2 people or a dog and a human. I don't know. Maybe Princess Bubblegum is super strong. I don't know what she's like.
Necessarily. I'm sure she's strong, but like again, we've talked about Finn's strength as well. About like how we think he's got this lack of oxygen or extra oxygen in the air, extra man strength, whatever it is as a human. That's our house canon right now. But I was like, I don't think Finn would be able to haul Jake and PB out like on his own, at least without being incredibly winded and tired.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and with enough time that you're not going to have the goos see you and go after you, or hopefully, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just,
And again,
I was questioning it. So,
I'm
but
not
it's a
saying PB's
cartoon.
not a badass and that she's not strong and that but then I was like, dude, that's why I wanted her to be like coming out gunslinging. Like I wish this episode was a tidbit longer and we had exhausted the option of going out there, guns ablazing. Oh no, we ran out of ammo. Let's go back in the ship and then try again. If we had just had a scene like that, I would have been a lot more forgiving that it was just like, yeah, we tried our best. Now we're at the last resort.
You easily could expand this episode, and I don't think it would take away from this episode at all. You could also add to like the sabotages that are happening on the ship and like really make one of them suspicious, or add another character or another sabotage that makes Jake or Finn look like they're the suspicious ones for some reason. You could add to the scene prior to us flashing back a week where Jake is in the storage closet and Finn and him are just having a like crying and really sad moment. You could add to the end of this episode where you see Finn kind of contemplate like, is this right or wrong? I can't tell. And that could have gone off in another way entirely, or had some sort of a confrontation with Finn and Princess Bubblegum. Could you imagine that? At the end of this episode, it cuts to Finn going up to Princess Bubblegum and being like, hey, like, this has been weighing on my heart. Like, I got some issues with what's going on here, or what just happened. I would love to see how she responds to Finn kind of sticking up for how he feels to Princess Bubblegum.
Yeah, you want him to kind of be like, I guess, I can't remember which episode we talked about it specifically, but being like, when's he going to be like, yeah, let me be a little less like a knight for PB and be like, why are we doing this? Like what? And I guess he knew why. They were expanding the Candy Kingdom. He's there to help out. He's there to, help her adventure and do her adventures. I totally get that. But the cloning part with him being like, I don't think this is right. Like just having that little moment of talking to her about it, not just talking with Jake about it. But I do really like at the end of the episode, the audience is supposed to also have that same. They didn't leave it with like, oh my gosh, yay, James is cloned. It's so great that Finn and Jake had is this right? Is this okay? Like, this doesn't seem normal. And we're all celebrating. All the candy people are celebrating it. And, in that kind of realm, you would think that Finn and Jake are scratching that itch in their head of like, this seems unethical to some extent because all the candy people are here at this like coronation, award ceremony, and that it's not crossing all the candy people's minds. Oh my gosh, am I a clone? Am I a clone of my candy person that died before?
Past,
like,
right.
am I the sixth iteration of, Marshmallow Man who's been burned and died several times, and that I'm just a clone of Princess Bubblegum?
To be fair, though, she doesn't hide it. She's just straight up like, this is the new James. Like, this is James 2.0 or whatever. Like, she's pretty clear about the fact that this is his clone. Like, you are not the original James. This is just a new version of you that I took from the corner of the last one.
Exactly. And again, if she's somewhat programming, like we established before, somewhat of this nature versus nurture programming, some stuff into the candy people where it's just like, yeah, I'm just not going to have their brains work that way. I'm not going to make them think about their own mortality or anything like that.
Well, we're as the audience kind of living through Finn a little bit in this episode, especially at the end there with the, questioning how correct this is to be doing what we're doing in cloning one of the candy kingdoms and just having them be the sacrifice. And Finn, okay. Also, sorry, I'm like all over the place today. Finn had a moment with Princess Bubblegum where she's like, I can't clone you. Like, what is it? Is it, you can't be cloned. You're too valuable, which is like a weird way of her saying like, I care about you. Like she has said that in the past that she does care about Finn, but for some reason in this episode, no, I'm not going to let you be the sacrifice is simply like, I can't really clone a second one of you. You're a human, not a piece of candy.
Yeah. Well, and it has to cross his mind. Okay. What if she nails down cloning of organic matter? Like, would she have let me be the sacrifice?
Right.
And just made a clone of me? Like, I'm sure that's probably where some of Finn's head was at when he was like, I don't know if this is okay. Probably thinking about, I was ready to do this myself. and I would have died or been a goo monster. And then nope, nobody's going to come and rescue me. Nobody's going to come and find a cure. They're just going to go on with Finn 2.0.
Yeah,
it's a freaky thought for sure.
it is, no doubt.
Because that was kind of like my questions for Russell, which is a segment I have pulled up all the time, like deeper questions for Russell.
Yeah.
But so I think you would agree with me, like, because you think about it with dogs and animals more than likely, if you like your dog was gonna pass away, and then somebody said, not only can I clone your dog, but I can clone your dog exactly the same way, same personality, same tone of bark, everything about the dog is going to be exactly the same. Like, you'd be like, okay, yes, but it's not the same dog. Like, do you also kind of agree with that, where it's like, that would still, I would feel like I'd rather just get a new dog and move on rather than just like, oh yeah, here's a second one.
I totally agree. I don't know many people personally that would get the clone. Like, it seems to me that the rational, like, moral decision in that scenario is to say, no, I've got to go with, like, just letting it pass. Like, that is how life, cycle of life, right? Like, that is, we are meant to be born and eventually pass away. I feel the same way when we're talking about, like, aging. Am I going to do anything personally? This is all me kind of a thing, and it could change. Don't call me out 10 years from now, please. But right now, my thought is, like, I'm in my early 30s. Like, I'm going to start to show signs of aging pretty soon. Like, what if I start balding? What if, like, do I accept that? Do I fight against it? Do I, in my mind, I think I kind of want to accept it and hopefully age gracefully. And that is the same line for me of my dog is passing. Like, I don't want to artificially, like, put a Band-Aid on this hurt. Like, I think you got to confront it and accept it and keep going, sort of a thing. Not to say that, like, you can't, do whatever that you want to do that's going to make you feel confident in your own body.
Yeah,
that's
it's more of like, if you're not accepting the or have a grasp on reality, that really you have to be grounded in a grasp of, like, things change. Yeah. And this is the weird thing. It just, that whole, like, and there's a second James and we're all cool with it. Let's celebrate. It's like this adversity to change. And it makes you, if you could just go, I mean, what is it? There's movies all the time. I mean, I guess Click is one of those movies where it starts to get into the morality of, like, how much can you control in your life, where if you could just pause, hit rewind, do it again, pause, hit rewind, do it again, it, like, totally messes up the whole construction of your life and who you are, Right. So that's definitely, it plays into that whole multifaceted, what is your reality? Do you have a grasp on morality? Do you have a grasp on change, on aging, on being able to let things go? There's so much to unpack there. And it doesn't seem like the candy people and what Princess Bubblegum's building down there does not have that structured into society per se.
Sure. But do you forever look at the new clone, James 2, and think to yourself, that's not James? And I think that would be my issue. I think I would forever look at this dog and go, like, this isn't, like, it would create a forever disconnect, or, like, some sort of a cognitive dissonance, or, like, some sort of a issue within me internally, where I'm just struggling with, like, I love this dog, but, like, you're not my dog. This feels wrong. I don't know.
Well, you're stripping even it's a disservice to the clone, because you're stripping away the clone sense of individuality.
Boom. Like, that's awesome.
You didn't rename. They just call him James 2, Now that James 2 doesn't have the memories of James 1, but you're expected to be the same person as James 1. So then all of a sudden you're like, well, who am I?
Weird expectations. I just gave you one boom. I didn't mean to do that. It just came out of me.
No, it's a good, like, again, that's why, like, again, it would feel weird if you cloned your dog and you named it something new and you're just like, well, I just love that type of dog. I loved its personality. I'd love to have that kind of dog around, but you named it the same thing. That starts being weird. If you named it something different and be like, this is a clone of my old dog. It's its own thing. It's its own personality. I'm not expecting it to fulfill what its host was per se. And like
Yeah.
that's where again it starts, just renaming him James and being like, let's pretend like this didn't happen, just leaves you with a bad feeling.
Now, this is a kid's show, by the way. Have we
Yes.
forgotten about that? I feel like we've forgotten the fact that this is a kid's show.
I think we're far enough into the show where the show has forgotten that a little bit. So
I think it has, or at least our conversations have a little bit. It's good, dude. I love talking about these episodes because it's so fascinating what you pick up. I really want Finn to have his moment with Princess Bubblegum. We've already addressed, we had a really, really great moment where he's like addressing her about the fact that like she's leading him on and that sort of a thing. But hopefully he, as the hero who wants the best for the Candy Kingdom itself, isn't just blindly going to be serving Princess Bubblegum forever and will continue the question. I think there's a lot of power in asking why in general. And I want to see Finn do that a little bit.
Yeah, I want to see that, and we get there. I think it's not really Finn who arrives there at all. It's more of like Princess Bubblegum kind of outgrows some stuff and like matures and becomes like a new person, continues to grow, continues to develop absolutely with her character in really, really great ways. And at this point, I think if we look back at, what feels like, months ago for us, but not that many episodes, like Finn's still kind of hung up or getting over Flame Princess. True. So I think he's more of like, why stir the pot with Princess Bubblegum if I'm just still like, he's just doing stuff to keep himself preoccupied. And I think that's why we've seen so many episodes where Finn and Jake aren't really doing their own thing right now. They're adventuring with Marceline. They're adventuring with Banana Man. They have all the Ice King. The last 2 episodes we did were with Ice King and Abracadaniel. That they're kind of just not in their Finn and Jake element, and I think it's a distraction.
Okay.
So I don't think he wants to stir the pot with PB because
that's fine.
He's like, just get me out of the house. Let me do something. Yeah, I got a lot going on.
It does take a bit more time. I mean, I don't think a lot of time passes between each one of these episodes. So especially like within the same season.
Yeah,
so that's
exactly.
Fair. It takes I mean, how long did he date Flame Princess for? Do we have a canonical?
I can check on that. It was
2 years or something.
It was definitely a while because then we had moments where we were like, oh yeah, we forgot he was dating Flame Princess.
Yeah, entirely. Well, they just wouldn't address it for like half a season or something.
Yeah, they started dating, hung out. I'm just doing some research. That's a great question.
There probably isn't a specific this date to this date thing, so maybe we don't have like an actual like how many years that they were together for. But I would be curious about it if you ever find it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still a little hung up, Ned, on the colonialism of the Candy Kingdom, like Princess Bubblegum's desire to spread and continue to conquer different lands, and then obviously the Spoon Prosperity. Those 2 things are just like sticking in my mind as like recent moments we've had where Princess Bubblegum had a clear incentive that like we weren't really privy to, or we don't really know what's happening in her mind and where she's trying to go with the Candy Kingdom. But it sure feels like she's up to something a little suspicious.
Yeah, and it's hard to say. It's just kind of is it suspicious, or has it always just been part of like her, like the nature of the Candy Kingdom? It's always growing. It's always expanding. She's going to keep creating new candy people. She's going to keep creating new neighborhoods of the Candy Kingdom. And even from season 1, like now we start seeing there being more roads and side streets and bars and sketchy parts of town. So like, I think even though when you look at it from afar, it looks all the same. I think it really, I don't know if it's like, the playing like tricks on the eyes, but I think it has grown since season 1.
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt, man. Well,
I'm trying to remember that term. I mean, it's not just imperialism, but it's like what Alexander the Great did, where it's just like, I think it's called the golden something.
Where's I can't.
Yeah, I know. There's an actual. Manifest Destiny. I think is what it's
Destiny.
called.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Okay. Well, y'all, I got a lesson for you, Ned. I got a lesson for you.
Give me old lessons.
Always keep your eye on PB. That's my lesson for this episode.
Yeah. And I think we just got some feedback from one of our travelers that was just like, you guys keep crapping on PB and it's like you guys are hitting the same notes. I'm like, this is even just a whole different thing about just like there's just something funky going on. There's just this little bit of like she's less personal right now. She's doing these, she's knocking Finn out in the head, and it's sweet, but it's not sweet. So it's a good lesson.
Yeah.
My lessons.
It's more of just like a general eye, like just watch her. She's up to something. I'm not saying it's negative or evil, but she's just up to something. And I don't know if it is manifest destiny. That would be fascinating because I think that implies a religious context to the conquering of, or like maybe she believes she's the god of her people. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, again, it's the keeping an eye. When we had her put Flame Princess, we learned that she put Flame Princess in, helped lock her away because Flame Princess would be more powerful than the Flame King. It was just like, yeah, that was a threat to her empire, which she is like bound to protect her citizens. But is it also okay? What happens when the Flame King goes away? Like the Flame Princess will still be there. Like, did she want to? The Fire Kingdom, I think, is surprisingly close to the Candy Kingdom. Is she eyeballing the Fire Kingdom to try to expand to it one day? I don't know. I don't know. There's again, just keep an eye out. Keep an eye out. My lesson is always bring a sacrifice. Always bring a sacrifice along, right? You gotta have a scapegoat. And then the other lesson was I guess James is like Emperor Palpatine. You just you can just create unlimited clones of yourself and stay alive forever. He's a Sith Lord. James is a Sith Lord.
He's a Sith Lord. I hope not. Maybe,
maybe not. Probably. Jar Jar Binks and James are both Sith Lords.
Oh my gosh, dude! I've been thinking about rewatching Star Wars recently, and then every time I think about it, I kind of get bummed out about the last 3 movies, and also all of the spinoffs that have happened. But we were just talking about maybe watching through Clone Wars and doing like season reviews on our Never Ending Adventure and Beyond, NEA and Beyond podcast that we do for the Patreon. So that might be something we end up doing because, as I just said, I have been thinking about getting back into Star Wars. I just haven't committed. Didn't know where I wanted to commit because there are so many live action TV shows now at this point where it's almost overwhelming. It's a Marvel universe that I never knew I had. Well, actually, I knew all along that I didn't want and didn't need.
There's some fun stuff that they're doing, like okay, there's people that crapped on Ahsoka, but I really liked it. The fighting's not as good. Some of the dialogue and scenes are like a little cheesy, but in terms of expanding the Star Wars universe, what they did with Ahsoka, I thought was really great. And then they did a whole series, and you know what? Like, this is just my rec for the week. Is the Skeleton Crew? They came out with, and I thought, I was like, what a goofy concept, what a goofy name. It's a kid's show. It's about these, like younger kids in Star Wars. But it's literally, if Star Wars is a Western, they made this one like a pirate, like a Treasure Island type story.
Oh, okay.
Where it's about like escaping from the pirates and hijacking ships and looting the gold on the planet. And they turn it into not a smugglers, not a crime syndicates, not Westerns, not epic hero adventures. It's just like a fun Treasure Island style like pirate story. And I was like, that's really cool. And they just set it all in the Star Wars universe, which I thought was a fantastic job.
So you
I
really
binged
enjoyed
it in like 2 days.
Okay.
So yeah.
Huh. We might have to watch that. That sounds pretty dang good, man.
Yeah. It's easy watch. You don't have to get into crazy Star Wars lore to like enjoy it. Like Ahsoka, you do have to understand what happened in like Rebels and stuff like that. So you can just go into it blindly and enjoy it, which is great.
My rec for this episode, I guess it could be the Spy Family movie. It's an anime. I've read the anime in the past. The TV show is amazing. It's the only anime that has ever actually made me laugh out loud. It is so funny and so adorable. The daughter has telekinetic powers or can read minds or whatever. And then the dad is a spy. The mom is an assassin. None of them know other than the daughter because she can read minds. And the dog can see the future. It's ridiculous. They all have a thing.
It's called was it called the Spy Family?
It's just called Spy Family. And
Spy Family.
It's freaking adorable, dude. Let me just give you a little thought on the plot. The plot of this show is that there are these two halves of the nation that are at war, or these two nations that are at war with each other. So this one spy whose job it is to spy on the other side goes in, and he has this mission where he has to get in with this diplomat. The diplomat has a kid that goes to this one school. It's a really prestigious, fancy private school. And so he needs to get information out of that guy. He needs to get to know him or whatever. Regardless, in order to do so, he's going to have to adopt a kid or rescue an orphan is what he ends up doing, and have this orphan become smart enough, or like teach this orphan to become smart enough to take these classes to get Stellas, which are like gold stars that you can only get so many, and they're so hard to get, in order to get into the honor society of the school. And he will then have a meeting. It's the only way that he can get in close with this diplomat or this like political figure of the other side. Unfortunately, for him to get in his daughter that he adopts into the school, there has to be a mom in the picture. And so he marries this assassin that he doesn't know is an assassin for, I guess, the other side. We're not really sure. It's hilarious. It's so good. We watched the movie.
That is a quite... It gives like Mr. and Mrs. Smith vibes.
Yeah, totally. And it's like they're not like against each other, but I do wonder if like she doesn't really say who her boss is or what her boss's motives are. She's just literally a crazy badass assassin and can murder everybody and anybody and is insanely strong. And there are episodes where they each see like in the movie, he's like a doctor or like a therapist or something like that. To her, that's what she knows him as. And he flies a plane and then like is doing all these crazy maneuvers in the sky. And he eventually has to fly like a giant carrier plane. And she's like, how do you know how to do that? He's like, oh, I dabbled. He's just like, I don't know. I just took some classes in college or some stupid excuse like that. It's hilarious. It's like they always approach seriousness and then they always find a silly way to like make you laugh and make you just go, oh my gosh, they're adorable. Like this family is so cute. I am rooting for the two fake married couple to fall in love. It's great. But I did watch I told you about the bad murder mystery. Now my rec is actually going to be your album that we're going to talk about on NAB pretty soon. And I don't know how I feel about it.
Oh, that is going to be rec or your anti-rec?
I guess it's my rec. I don't want to say it's my anti-rec because I feel like that's unfair to your music taste.
I mean, it's not my favorite of this artist album either. So it's more just it's brand new. It's got a lot of story behind it, and I just want to talk about it.
Okay, cool. Well, it's the latest release from Skrillex. It's FU Skrillex. You think you're Andy Warhol, but you're not, which I do think is a great name for an album. But I don't know if I feel like an adult. I feel like a parent who's like kids in their music these days. Like I just don't get it, but I'm excited.
Yeah, that's why we're talking about it though. There's a lot in there that doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think there's a reason. There's reasons why the music is the way it is.
I was like, Ned really chose a tough one for me to the palate. This.
Yeah. I'm push your boundary. I'm gonna get you outside. We're not going to talk about, we're not going to talk about Fleetwood Mac. So
I know, but then you had me choose a Simon and Garfunkel for mine. Okay, I was going to talk about mine. You don't want to deep cut Simon and Garfunkel album.
You can give me deeper cuts. This is deep cut Skrillex, I don't want to. We can go deeper.
I'm excited. I'm excited about the Skrillex album because I think you're going to have a lot to say about it. So I'm curious to find out more, and I'm going to give it a second or third listen before we actually talk about it.
It's a good power gym. Gets the heart rate up,
Cool. Well, y'all, thank you so much for joining us. Never Ending Adventure Podcast. You can check us out on Patreon, and we've talked about it a bit more than usual today. Patreon.com/Never Ending Adventure Podcast, Instagram Never Ending Adventure Podcast, TikTok Never Ending Adventure Cast, Twitter NEA_podcast. Email us your thoughts, your opinions. Get on the Traveler's Log at nea.travelerslog@gmail.com. I appreciate y'all joining in, and Ned, it's good to see you. It's always fun to talk about Adventure Time, and can't wait to see James come back as a goo monster one day pretty soon.
We're gonna have James Part 2 coming up here. Not too far.
Okay, cool. Well, y'all, party forever.
All right, love you guys.